Saturday morning. I think it's September 10th. I don't really know. We're just coming out here for a nice steaming cup of coffee, and it's a little chilly in a beautiful September morning. Coffee is just, I live for my coffee. We allowed ourselves to sleep in a little bit today. I always pay a price for sleeping in, even if it's just an extra hour, but it was a very exhaustive week. My delivery of seeds came yesterday, so on top of the seeds that I already had, I'm trying to wrap my brain around a day of planting out more fall garden for beautiful cool weather crops that will be growing. I want to show you the progress of the lettuce that I planted out last week, which looks phenomenal. I have some radishes that are starting to pop up. My spinach is starting to pop up. Right now I have 3 varieties in the ground. I have cauliflower, broccoli, and 2 types of Brussels sprouts in the ground, and 3 varieties of kale, as well as 24 varieties of lettuce. 11 varieties of carrots that I put in the ground the other day, and today is going to be turnips, rutabagas, 2 different types of radicchio, 2 types of cabbage, a few other things. I can't even wrap my brain around it. So we have beds to turn over, flowers to throw out. I hate pulling the marigolds out because they're at their absolute most beautiful right now, and they bring such color to the garden, but our need is to grow food. So we are going to go ahead and get back there to work today after we have our coffee and our breakfast, and it's going to be a dirty day. Here's Mr. Buddy in the morning sunshine. How you doing, bud? Yeah, cool. Cool what? Cool. Cool. Yeah. Are you cool? Cool, bro? Mister, you're so handsome sitting there in the sunshine. I see Allie back there. Look at Allie sitting in the sunshine, and Aki getting this nice cool morning air, huh, babies? You love coffee in the yard? Today's turning out to be a very late start with the pressure of a lot of work ahead of us and several hundred seeds that have to go into the ground. But it is what it is, and sometimes you just have to survey things and enjoy a moment of relaxation. We had a nice breakfast. We had our coffee. I'm allowing it to be a slow day because I'm still just not feeling great. I started to feel better, but I don't feel good. I have some serious pinched nerves in my neck that are creating all kinds of symptoms, so I'm taking it slow. But I'm going to take you for a walk around and show you what the garden looks like now, and then John's going to be ripping stuff out, turning over some soil, and I'll be getting to planting some seeds. Look at this. This is my Rosita eggplant that still wants to give us eggplants. There was just some bumblebees in there pollinating. So sadly, as I was saying earlier, all of these amazing marigolds, they just grow so prolifically. I'm going to have to rip them out. And all of this buckwheat here that you see, these little brown tips, that's actually seed. So we're going to try to harvest some of that because it works as a good cover crop and it feeds your soil. So I'll be having that seed available to replant. All of this flower bed though will be getting torn out because below it is the most amazing soil that has been covered by the buckwheat and other flowers, so it's full of nutrients. And I'm going to plant more seeds. And look at what we're getting here. Some beautiful ripe tomatoes, lots of new sets. So the garden was really forgiving. And we have some that got overripe, but that's okay. I'm going to pull them we'll be doing some harvesting. This was the result of the rain. So you see the tomatoes get cracked when they've gone through a dry spell, and then they get a big drink like they did from all that rain, but we still have plenty of tomatoes growing. So this is really encouraging. I hope you can see last week, I think it was Sunday, I planted radishes. So these are cherry bell radishes. They came up within 3 days, and they're well on their way. And I don't know if you can see the little tiny green shoots coming up, but that is my spinach, which I'm so excited for because we eat spinach every single day. And I go through 4 pounds of spinach a week. So this is just so encouraging to see it all coming to life. Here's my lettuce that I planted on August 21st inside, and I did a video about that, which I'll attach the link below. And I was worried because it had a nice crown to it, and I thought, wow, this lettuce is ready to go out, and this was last week. And then I started to pull it up out of the ground, out of the little cells, and I realized the roots were very shallow, and I thought that I was going to lose it. But look, almost every single bit germinated, and it has held on for a week and grown. There's only 3 seedlings that died back, but they had very shallow roots. The beautiful thing is, I'm going to just go ahead and sow seeds in the rows, which are clearly marked with the type of lettuce in its row. So you can see the little sticks down there, little popsicle sticks, which was what I had available at the moment. It tells me what's in the row, so I'll direct seed that. These little baskets here, I bought from the dollar store. They're waste baskets, and they're, in the garden world, they're used like as a cloche. I think you spell it C-L-O-C-H-E. And they basically cover your seedlings and protect them from predators. So we went ahead and did a double net with the cloches because the birds will get under the net at times and rip out the lettuce. I'm not really sure why. So we did a double measure, and it's okay because I'll be able to reuse those cloches to cover other things. Like right now, oh my goodness, they're not in here yet, but I think they might have been pecking in here. This is all of my broccoli, cauliflower, 2 types of Brussels sprouts, another variety of broccoli, and these little seedlings here are something called sichuan radish. It's a very long radish. It's red and pink. It's absolutely beautiful. So I'm looking forward to all of this brassica doing well. I hope it will. I hope it's going to get enough sun. But as a safety measure, we're going to go ahead and plant more brassica seeds in the back here as we rip everything out. So take a good look, guys, and keep it in your memory because all of these flowers are about to come out and everything's going to change as it is September and we are moving into a new phase of the garden. I'm just sitting down now with my little seed packets, and here's typical me. I'm not looking for any compliments here. Every day I say I'm going to make a beautiful cinematic video, or at a minimum I'm going to get dressed and I'm going to brush my hair and I'm going to look nice and maybe put on some makeup and make a beautiful video. But here I am, I still haven't brushed my hair. It's typical me. I do that purposely because I'm about to prepare food every morning and I don't want any loose hair. So I tend to wrap my hair up tight at bedtime, and then I just go through the day until I'm ready to wash it and brush it. And nonetheless, that is the purpose of my look. So anyway, I just wanted to share with you some things that I am getting together as I get ready to go out and plant some seeds. So I have a nice little box of things here that came from my different seed vendors, and I am going to just give you some ideas of what it is that you can plant in your garden in the month of September in the state of New Jersey and in our free zone. So right now John is in the back and he's turning over some of the beds that had tomatoes and other flowers in there, and he's amending it with organic soil and manure, and we're wetting it down and getting it nice and rich and wet, and then I will sow seeds, and we're going to allow it to have an afternoon of full sun, and then over the next few days it will rain, and I feel like the earth will truly bless this garden. So let's have a look at some seeds. Well, first I just want to share the excitement of saying, as a grower who grows from seed, and I order a tremendous amount of seeds from my favorite vendor, who is Baker's Creek Heirloom Seeds, I normally get a free packet because with a minimum purchase they send you free seeds, and it's kind of exciting for those of us who order from them, who anticipate the free seeds coming, and you just don't know what you're going to get. And normally I hope that it's going to be something that I'm actually planting out for the season, but this time I got an actual tomato, and I was so overjoyed. I wish I could have captured my reaction, because I got tomatoes, and you never get tomatoes. Well, I don't anyway. I usually get different lettuces, and I got some kale in the past, and most recently I got some phlox to plant out for the spring. But this is a tomato here, Thornburns terracotta. I was planning on buying this at some point anyway, but because I've become such a tomato addict, and I just want to grow everything, I'm just starting to get through the different varieties to plant out and trying to make room for it. So, you know, this year, or next year I should say, instead of planting 8 of one new variety like I did with the Hungarian heart, I'm only going to do 2. I'll allow them to have flowers so they can, you know, cross-pollinate. But I want a bigger variety this year. I want to taste everything. So I looked at this terracotta and I thought, maybe it's time, this is the year for the terracotta. And I passed on it because I don't need it right now. And instead I bought the Dr. Wicky's. I really wanted the yellow brandywine, but I also wanted this, so they made my choice easier because the yellow brandywines were out of stock. Mortgage Lifter, and a new grape tomato, Agripoli d'Inverno. I'm probably totally destroying the name of it, but evidently this one in particular is known for its long-standing abilities, and even if you just clip it on its branch or vine and you allow it to just sit there, it stands off of the main stalk for a very long time before it starts to over-ripen. So these 4 varieties of tomato are what we get to look forward to next year. For now, one of the other things that I'm going to plant, and I think I'm only going to do a few because I'm reading that celery is really only for the springtime, but it's a cool weather variety, and it is frost hardy. So I'm going to be sowing some beautiful celery today. Not too many because I don't want to waste my seeds. I'm in a place of not knowing what's going to happen with new varieties, so I'm only going to learn if I try it. I just know that we go from winter to summer very rapidly because of our microclimate in the back, and the summer has just been too hot to sow fall seeds in July and August as they call for. So I have to adjust for the fact that we are some images will show that we are in a zone 5. Some show that we're 6A, 6B. But I'm hearing now that some people refer to their zone as 7A. And that really means what are the dates of your first and last frost dates, which help you to know when to plant. It doesn't really mean anything other than that, of when you should know when your ground is going to be too cold. So this is frost hardy, but it germinates in 15 to 20 days. And it's, you know, it's saying that it needs, I don't know, I think this was approximately 80 days. So hopefully in 80 days, we'll be in November, but we have mild autumn now because of climate change. So hopefully I'll be harvesting some celery. I also have a new variety, Gigante d'Inverno long-standing spinach. This is an Italian heirloom, which translates to the meaning of giant winter. It produces large, broad, deep green leaves well into fall and winter months. This is my kind of spinach because this video is all about what it is that we can grow in our fall garden here in September in New Jersey. And this says sow late summer for fall harvest, and that indeed it is. I also have my Bloomsdale long-standing spinach. This is one of our favorites. We plant it twice a year, and often when we plant it in autumn, it will die back in frost, and it will really withstand even snow at times. And then it just self-sows seed, and it reblooms again in spring. Not every year, but it has done so in the past. So a few new things here for me that I did pick up is a green macerata, and I'm probably butchering the name of that, cauliflower. I think this is an 80-day variety, and we're going to direct sow it. So ideal soil temperatures are 50 to 75 degrees, and it is frost hardy, so hopefully we'll have a delicious new lime green variety of cauliflower to enjoy this year. In the house, oh, actually it's right here. I have a different vendor that I deal with besides Baker's Creek, which is Botanical Interest. Gosh, they send such lovely packets that are full of information about the variety that you've selected. And even when you open it, if you should buy this, this is one of the brands that I said you can find at Sprouts on Route 70 in Marlton. When you open the pack at the little fold, do so gingerly, because inside of this envelope is more information printed about what this variety is, or any variety. They have a huge selection. So I also have a box full of Botanical Interest, some which I ordered through the mail, and I don't really like to do that because the cost of postage is very, very expensive now. And you know, when I realize I can just go buy it and save myself the postage, I'll just go to Sprouts and pick it up. While Sprouts doesn't have the variety that's available online, you know, I'm still able to get the things that I use most frequently, which I'll be going over shortly. But, you know, my voice told me this year, let's grow things in the autumn that are going to be beneficial, nutritious, and easy to grow. So my voice told me this year to try to grow some turnips. So I selected these guys. It says, for first-time growers will be pleasantly surprised. This root crop has fed the world's people for thousands of years and can be eaten fresh, roasted, or used like potatoes, or even mashed. It's an old Irish tradition of putting lit embers inside a hollowed-out turnip for the inspiration of jack-o'-lanterns. So I thought that was cool. And it looks like it's going to be a 50-day maturity, so that'll have us right on track. And we're going to grow this in the large bed where we had the corn earlier this summer. And I'm really looking forward to the rows of root vegetables that will be going into that bed. Alongside this, I'll be going back to Baker's Creek, and I'll be doing a rutabaga. Now, as a vegetarian, you may be surprised, I've never had rutabaga. I may have had it in soup and didn't know it. The only way I've had turnips was in soup. But I'm going to go ahead and do this one as well. It's a great fall vegetable, it says. It's 80 to 90 days to reach its full large size that they say it has. But again, it's a frost hardy plant. Needs 6 to 12 hours of full sun, which we're going to get back there in that corner. And so I'll have a nice variety of new root vegetables to grow this year as well. I've also added some Radicchio, which is an Italian heirloom, and it's supposed to be very good in salads. It's another fall crop. It's very, very colorful. What are we calling this? Castelfranco. I really thought it was beautiful and it looked delicious. So hopefully it's not too peppery. I don't really enjoy things that have the flavor of arugula. Maybe it was the variety of arugula that I had. But if it's just too, I don't know, peppery, I just don't enjoy it. But this is full of nutrients. So I think it's time to, you know, grow things that are important to our nutrition. Things I know I can learn to enjoy, even if it's not my first instinct to want to have it because it's peppery. In that pepperiness, it may have good niacin in it, and which is good for your blood vessels. It clears out cholesterol naturally, and that's something that you want to incorporate in your diet. For some reason, I thought I had an additional Radicchio here that I ordered, but maybe I don't. I think, you know what? I think it was out of stock. So I'm just opening this today. So I'm, you know, pretty excited by everything. So I'm just getting my bearings on what it is that I have, and I don't even really know what bed I'm putting everything in yet. So also new to our garden, but not new to me, I am adding a Rosa di Verona. Oh, this is the Radicchio. Here we go. But it actually looks more like a red cabbage. So I thought I was losing my mind for a minute. I was like, I know I ordered 2 Radicchios, but I looked at the picture and I lost my mind for a second and thought, oh, I wanted to order red cabbage and they were out of stock. I guess I ordered red cabbage. But see, this is classic me. I'll look at a picture and not read all the words, and, you know, I jump to my own conclusions. Nonetheless, this is another Italian selection of dark wine red, round, medium-sized heads, and it's grown as a fall crop. So I think that, pardon the airplanes, we live near 2 regional airports, and we live near the base, so there's always airplanes overhead and screaming parrots. I just can't seem to get away from things with wings. Must be my calling in life, I don't know. Anyway, I am going to grow this as well in hopes that I can learn to eat another experience of flavor, something crunchy and crispy that I can add in with all my spinach varieties. And you know, the main goal is always to go for nutrition. I like things that are dark in color because it always packs more antioxidants. I'm big on that. Here is another variety of something new. I am not much of a cabbage eater, but this is called Chinese Cabbage Golden Beauty. It's only 55 days to maturity. It is frost hardy, and it is an unparalleled nutrient density cabbage. It's hardy and prolific, green outer leaves with gorgeous golden yellow interior, twice the amount of calcium. I love that, as other varieties of cabbage, and it's rich in vitamin A with a buttery soft texture, superb flavor, and ideal for kimchi, stir fries, and more. Honestly, I'm not a fan of kimchi. I don't even really love cabbages, but because this has nutrition, I have to broaden the varieties of things that I put on the table for myself and John, because he eats what I give him. He has a different metabolism than I do. So he just burns fat, and if he skips a meal, he loses weight very rapidly. And because we are really grazers and we don't sit and just eat big meals, we eat salads very early in the day. We've learned to live on a Mediterranean diet. And this way, when we go to bed, we have empty bellies and we're hungry, and we have metabolized everything that we eat, and we have allowed our body to absorb all of the nutrients. So it's important to me that I have nutrient dense foods that are good, high in fiber, and promote good digestion. And you know, we got to do what we got to do to make sure that we stay healthy. I also have a very large variety of radishes that will be going in the ground, as well as more of the lettuces that I've already planted, but I'll be adding to those beds. And I think, you know, this is another one of the things that I picked up at Sprouts, was this Royal Burgundy bush bean. For some reason, our beans would not grow this summer. Once the temperatures cooled down, it allowed the plant to get its flowers, and things will not grow their blossoms if it's too hot. So yesterday I was able to harvest this surprise batch of beautiful Blue Lake bush beans and Kentucky Wonder pole beans that decided to finally grow. So, you know, the temperatures, again, I anticipate are going to be mild for a while. And this is 55 days to maturity. So I'm going to soak a few beans tonight. I'm not going to soak them for too long because you can drown them. And I'm going to see if I can get some new variety of beans to grow before too long. I have a huge variety of radishes and daikon. If you hear me mention daikon, guys, this is what daikon is. This is a metabolic powerhouse. It's full of all sorts of nutrients that really just are good for your blood vessels. I like to eat it raw. It's great in stir fry. I also love to grow watermelon radish. This is a large radish, and when you slice it open, it really does look like a watermelon in there. So I'm excited for that. I have a ton of varieties here. Some of the radishes that I really enjoy growing are purple Malaga. They're very rich in antioxidants. They grow dark purple. They grow easy. So I'm looking forward to that. I also just love all of my varieties of radishes, and I have so many. I think that this year was the first year that I grew the French breakfast, and I have to say this may have been my favorite radish to grow. It grew quickly. It was very, very crisp. It's only 28 days to maturity. You can put them in the ground. They're not going to complain. They're going to germinate very quickly as long as you give them ample, even amounts of water and that they have good sunshine. And before you know it, in about a month or 6 weeks, you're pulling beautiful, mature, colorful radishes out of the ground. And, you know, they're just absolutely crisp, bright, and delicious. I like raw radishes inside of our beautiful raw salad. Some people roast them. And I would imagine that there's a bunch of other things that you can do with them. They're not just a garnish in my house, guys. This is a diet staple. So I have so many varieties that I'll be pulling out, and we'll be going back and getting that started shortly. So there goes Farmer John pushing the wheelbarrow. So I think he's almost ready for me. So I'll be heading back and get myself ready to get these seeds in the ground. Also, if you're looking to grow flowers in the autumn, which are beneficial to your garden, that are not just, you know, the basic things that you buy at your garden center, and you want to try to grow something from seed, calendula. This grew beautifully in the spring, and it has a very interesting shaped seed. And I sowed it early in the year. It grew beautifully, and then it died back, and now it has started to grow back again. So it's a very, it almost looks like a clipped, like, dog nail or a cat claw nail. Trying to show you. Very cool. So you'll know right away when you find yourself a calendula seed, and somebody might say, I don't know what this seed is. You'll know that it's calendula just from the way it's shaped. But I do recommend this flower. It's very, very beautiful, and it holds up through the cold weather. Here's John, turning the corn bed, getting all of the roots and brace roots out from the corn. Which, by the way, you guys, I cooked some up today for the birds that I had sliced off of the cob for kernels. Oh my gosh, it smelled so delicious. I'm so happy we harvested all of that corn this year. So that's where I'll be working very shortly. I just took my little seed box in because I'm getting ready to go plant, and then I thought, let me go grab the other things that I have that are going in the ground today as well, and I realized that I just might have a problem. I'm addicted to seeds. If ever there was an addiction to have, I shouldn't say that with so much humor. Having too many seeds is a good problem to have. Here's another variety that I'll be putting in the ground today, which is this beautiful purple kale. Again, full of antioxidants. I have so many options here. This beautiful Sichuan Red Beauty, I put in the ground Sunday or Monday, and it's already come up in the back. It's got its little greens that have popped up, so I know I've got germination on that. This is another quick growing broccoli that I'll be planting more of, and this is already growing in the back that I started on August 9th. It did have a pretty good rounded root ball to it when I took it out of the ground, so I'm really hoping to get broccoli. Now, we tried to grow broccoli and cauliflower last year in the winter, and it just didn't germinate in time, and it did hold up through winter. But then the cabbage loopers came in spring, and they just laid so many eggs on it. I was so excited because I thought, okay, I can deal with this. I'll just rinse them off. And I realized that I think we ate some worms. It was very upsetting, and I said I'm never going to eat broccoli again. And I was just so upset because the broccoli was so delicious. And it's so funny because my friend had told me a funny story about when she served broccoli to her family and her daughter's new boyfriend, and he wasn't eating the most delicious broccoli that she had ever grown. And she came down on him and said, "Is there something wrong with your food? Why aren't you eating it?" And he said, "No, I really love the broccoli. It's the bugs that I don't like." And here, you just can't really get all of the worms out of spring broccoli because they look just like the florets. So, you know, I've learned that you can blanch it in vinegar and give it an ice bath, and you can get them out. It just takes a little bit of work. And for those of you who have never grown broccoli or cauliflower before, it can be a little disheartening when you realize that they do collect cabbage looper worms. But so you have to be prepared to rinse them out. I'm also growing the Waltham broccoli, which takes a little bit longer. I have all sorts of Brussels sprouts in here, and the reason that I pulled this box out is because it's full of all of my radishes. So this is actually going to be a very lengthy day of planting seeds. It's already 1 o'clock. I still have bird cages to take care of. There's grass to be cut, and just the radish planting alone is going to be hundreds and hundreds of seeds. So I hope I can find a comfortable place to sit and bend over, because my back really does not appreciate it. And I struggle with days like this because of the limitations I have with my back and my neck. But, you know, it involves me sitting properly, standing up often, stretching out, and, you know, knowing what my flexibility limits are. So I'm going to do it. We're going to get it done. And in a month or so, we'll have radishes. I'm just getting myself deeper and deeper into trouble here. John's staring at the sky. I guess he needs a break, or he needs me to come back here. But I found another variety of the Daikon that I'll be growing today as my seed pile gets deeper and deeper. Here's the varieties that I'll be growing. These were all really very, very successful radishes that I have grown. These were absolutely beautiful, and when you pull them out of the ground, it's like, oh, will it be purple? Will it be pink? Will it be red? Will it be white? Ouch, I just banged my elbow. These pink beauties were absolutely gorgeous. Here's another purple plum. This was beautiful. It's, you know, you pull it out and it's got this beautiful dark flesh, and then when you start to slice down into it, it's got this rich white interior with striations of purple. This French breakfast, I just realized I have like 5 packs of it. Every time I see it, I just grab more. And I'm just hoarding them because they grow so easily. So I just keep them in. I know I'm going to eat them. Why not? Cherry Bell, this is another favorite. These are germinated in the back already, and with the spinach that I had showed you earlier. Here's another Miyashiga White. I'm probably totally butchering the names of some of these Daikons. Crispy Crunch Radish. I have so many varieties. And then the Malaga radish. Here's another pack that I already had. This red Sichuan I had showed you earlier germinated in the back. Look at this beautiful radish. Can you even Do you know the excitement that I feel when I grow these things and I pull a long pink radish out of the ground and it's winter and here I am harvesting stuff? I can't wait. So in addition to the beautiful scarlet kale that I had already showed you, I'll be planting more of the dazzling blue kale, which really does just grow beautifully. So I think that's about enough of showing you seeds. You're probably bored by now, and hopefully you haven't fast forwarded through the video, but I am now, I think this is the 4th attempt. I will actually be going back to get these seeds into the ground. Yourself, love. Easy. You're just a baby. You are. We need to let you fly off now. Oh, here we go. Are you ready? Are you ready? I just got done saying that I don't need to be someone's hero in life. And I wasn't coming out here to find that little bird. I just happened to fall upon it. But if ever I had to be a quiet hero, I was in the right place at the right time. All right, I finally made it back. I'm going to start planting out these beds. I have my little box of seeds that I've separated that will be getting addressed now, because as you can see, I am a seed hoarder, and if I were to bring back all of my seeds, I would need to carry them in a wagon. Farmer John is back here manually tilling the corn bed to get all of the brace roots out. There are some strange insects in there. Who knows what that was that I just saw? Good that I don't see it anymore. Maybe bad because it's burrowed itself down into the dirt. You just never know what you're going to find. So here's the brace roots from the corn, you guys. Believe it or not, that's what actually holds in those giant stalks of corn. So now that they're all dried out, they were a bit of a cover crop to this bed here, so we could just keep the soil loose and somewhat covered. It is a little bit dry, but that's not too surprising based on the conditions that we've suffered through this season. This bed, however, just got turned over, and this had kale and marigolds, and there were some eggplant in here, and nothing did well back here this year because, for 2 reasons. The heat took it out. We had a insect invasion, and we allowed the marigolds to get too big back here, as well as the wild petunias that grew. So now everything's all clear and we're about to get started. Something I like to do is lay out the packs of seeds that I'm about to plant in the area that I know that they're going to go in, so I can refer back to the date and the day of the video. I'll know what I planted in rows and you know exactly what varieties I have. So I'm electing to keep these brassicas in this bed here, where I know they're going to get 6 to 12 hours of required sun. I know that these will start to germinate within 5 to 10 days, and these will be 7 to 10 days in their germination, and I want to make sure that they get plenty of room to spread out because they do get wide leafy bases, and I don't want them to suffocate each other. This is not something that I want to have, you know, 20 cabbages all at the same time. So I'm going to do an initial planting of these varieties in this bed in small quantities, and then I'll do a succession sowing in another bed in about a week so I can stagger the growth process, and my harvesting will come in phases. So something that I'm starting to plan out now is the Chinese cabbage. And I've already put the 2 new varieties for this garden of Radicchio in those beds. And I didn't plant too many because I need to know what to expect before I waste all of my seed, potentially. So here I'm only going to plant 3 of the new cabbages because, first of all, I don't want an abundance of cabbages all at the same time. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if I'm going to like them. So the last thing I want to do is inundate my storage space inside with a vegetable that I may not like if I have too many. And so we'll see what happens. Now, these seeds are very, very tiny. So I'm only going to grab a few. I'm going to plant them shallow because they do need some sunlight. And I will let the watering actually force them down into the ground. And we'll see what happens in a few weeks when they're supposed to germinate. So it's easy enough to see where they've gone off to. I have made just a rough mark in this bed so I know where I put it. I'm now going to close this package and put it back in its box so I don't get things confused. So now in the end, I'll go ahead and plant the new green cauliflower variety, and this bed will be planted. And the only thing I'll need to do is give it a drink to keep it watered evenly. We do have rain coming for a few days, so with good sunshine and some rain, we should see the germination in the 5 days that it calls for. Now I'm moving on to a new bed, and I'm laying out some of my varieties so that I can see what rows I'll be placing things in here, because this is a different sun exposure. So I'm going to try this new variety of cauliflower here as well, but I'm only going to do two of them. And I know that if I end up having successful germination in all, say, 10 to 12 cauliflowers that I've started from this variety, I can blanch this and freeze it. So I'll be good for the season, which is what I plan to do anyway. I'm going to do a little bit more kale in these rows. And of course, this is the new variety, which I'm very, very excited to try. So I'm going to put some good vibes and some prayers to the earth to give us good germination on this. And oh my goodness, I have attention deficit. Look at that big Bertha pepper. Well, you guys, it is many hours later from the little tutorial I was giving, and we're still working out here. It's been another long day. We've been pushing 12 to 16 hours a day between John's full-time job and my jobs in the house and in the garden. So we had to make an unplanned trip to Lowe's to buy more soil because we just didn't like the looks of the soil that the corn was in. It just looked a little dry and spent. So mind you, we are referring to this as soil. We do buy manure, and we try our best to get organic garden soil and raised bed soil because there's less of a chance that it's going to have anything in it like raisin or any kind of pesticides, herbicides, anything that's going to kill your soil and all the microorganisms that live in it. So we're just getting this ready here so that I can finally plant out these radishes and daikons, rutabagas, and turnips that I wanted to get into the ground many hours ago. But we have a lot of jobs out here in a day, and it's just not easy. So I'll be planting these seeds, and then hopefully we're going to call it a day before 7 p.m. tonight, because I really need a break. It's funny too, because I was having an odd conversation with myself the other day I'll have to tell you about. Yeah, so you see my shirt? This is like my favorite gardening shirt. I go to this shirt because it's old and it's got long sleeves, and I try to, keep the sun off of myself, and I get a rash out here in the garden. But yeah, I'm Fruit Loops, and I have another one that says I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I am cuckoo for sure. You hear that screaming in the background. It's no wonder why I'm cuckoo. But anyway, yeah, so in talking about trying to get a day off, trying to get out of the sun here, I had the audacity to say to myself the other day, of all the things that I have to get done, and I meant it, I wholeheartedly said to myself, maybe I'll schedule a day off for myself in January. In January, And I'm like, it's only September. But I don't foresee the opportunity to have a day off until January, which is my down season, and the garden is sleeping and the grass is sleeping, and you know, taking care of a whole other set of things. And there's no day off here. Never, ever. There is never a day off. For me, a day off is 8 hours work and preparing food and all of that stuff. So, but anyway, maybe at some point I'll talk about my day off in January. All right, so this bed where the corn lived this year is now ready to be planted. Now this is an enormous bed. So I'm going to go back halfway in depth, and I'm going to make a line of demarcation, and then I'm going to probably leave some markers in there so I know where I stop. I'm going to do long single rows of all these varieties of radishes, turnips, rutabagas, and you know, there's some other areas where I'm planting stuff.